Please, a round of applause.
Hey everyone, thank you for being here today. My name is Cecil Robles. I'm one of the co-founders of NFTIQ. We work with enterprises that are famous brands like DeLorean that are looking to use unique ways to launch products, specifically in Web3, the Metaverse, using NFTs. And today I have with me the CEO of DeLorean Motor Company, Joost de Vries. Give Joost a big round of applause if you don't mind.
Woo! Good morning, everybody.
And so what we want to talk about today is really, this man is a visionary. Everybody, how many are you familiar with DeLorean?
Back to the Future.
Okay, most people. So the Back to the Future car, the DMC-12, the original DeLorean, which John DeLorean created and then manufactured in the early 1980s. And really, Joost, you talk about how DeLorean has been around for 40 years, still living in the digital space, but hasn't had a physical vehicle in almost 40 years. So can you talk a little bit about why DeLorean? Why for you? You've been in the automotive space for your whole life, with Tesla, with a number of other very successful brands. Why DeLorean for you?
Well, first of all, thank you all for coming. Good morning. Let's go. DeLorean is one of these childhood dreams. When I say DeLorean, I see all these hands rise up. I see everybody smile. It's one of those wholesome, feel-good brands. And for a car guy, my first job, when my mom told me at 14 I needed to get pocket money, was working on cars. And then when you move to traditional companies like Volvo and Tesla and some other startups, and then you have an opportunity to work with a brand like DeLorean, it's amazing. Because this is like an icon. You need to be really, really careful what you do with the brand. And then when you dig deeper into that brand, you find out that they stopped producing cars 39 years ago. And that brand never went away. So where did it live? And it lived digital. It lived in Sony, in Microsoft, in Nintendo, and EA Games. So we have this brand that has been living for the last few decades in a digital space. How do we bring that brand back into the physical space? So that is where we started thinking about how do you bridge the Metaverse into the physical universe.
That's great. I love the story about how you went to Italy, to the original designer, Ital Design. And when you went there, the designers, I believe the original designer is now 85 years old, they're so in love with the brand that they continue to design cars for DeLorean. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
It is 1983 was when they stopped producing the traditional DMC-12. And in our journey to find the brand and to understand the essence of the brand, we went to Italy to the original designer, Giugiaro, and his son Fabrizio. And what we found there is that they literally never stopped designing DeLorean vehicles, although they had never had a customer for it. So when you go to our website today, you see a 1990 DeLorean Coupe, you see a 2000 DeLorean sedan, you see a 2010 DeLorean SUV. So that legacy of the brand, we were able to fill in 40 years that never existed. So when we talk to each other in the company, we always tell each other, we're actually building a legacy in real time, which is absolutely phenomenal from a brand perspective. And when you go to our website, you'll see those there. And when you come to Pebble Beach in 3 weeks from now, we'll have those cars there too. It's just such an amazing experience to see that passion in the automotive design world coming to life in designs that we can now show the world.
So you'll be actually launching the Alpha5 in Pebble Beach at the Tour de Elegance on August 18th, is that correct?
Yes, the first time the public will see the car in full-size, real-life livery will be when we hopefully win the 2022 Concept Car of the Year on the award podium on Pebble Beach on the 18th.
Right. So you mentioned concept car, but you're actually going to produce these vehicles. How many are you producing? Can you tell us a little bit about the Alpha5? Give us some specs on it.
Yeah, the traditional DMC-12 from the 1980s, the best we know is that they built 9,350. So we're going to build 9,351 because we have to have one more. The Alpha5 was grown through all the cars that we have now shown. So the DMC-12, the Alpha2, the Alpha3, the Alpha4, this is the Alpha5. And volume-wise, it might not be a big thing, because what is 9,000 cars over a couple of years in the global world, but we need to get the brand ready to become a full-line OEM. And to become a full-line OEM, you need an SUV. But the brand doesn't allow me to launch with an SUV, so we're going to launch with the coupe, and then quickly thereafter we're going to show the world what an SUV looks like.
Now let's talk about why you decided and kind of how this whole NFT concept came about, but also how it's not just a PFP or an art or an image, how we're actually putting real utility tied to the car through the NFT, because I think this is what most people miss about what you can do with NFTs and the technology and the metaverse, and you're actually launching and growing a real business using this particular strategy.
Yeah, let me first educate the group a little bit on automotive world. When you have a hot car as a car manufacturer, what you normally do is you do a pre-order. You go to your customers and say, hey, if you want to be in line for the car, give me $500, give me $2,000, I'll put you on a list, first come, first served, and you go from there. That really doesn't mean anything, because when you have a dealer in between, even though you're on the list, they can still come back to you and say, now you need to pay another $10,000. I mean, look at where the current Hummers are going for, almost double MSRP. So it's a really challenged world, to be honest, towards your customers. So the first idea we had with an NFT is NFTs are fixed quantity. If you don't auction them, NFTs can be very democratic in its view to the market. You can fix price them, and you can tell your customers, this is how many we're going to make, become a member in our club, and you have access to that NFT. So it became an honest way how to go there. And then once we started talking about the utility of an NFT, it is, we can do so much more. We can have a gameable avatar. Is Microsoft interested? Yes, they are. Is Nintendo interested? Yes, they are. So now we can have a cross-platform gameable avatar way before we have a physical card for the owners of our NFT. Then you start thinking a little bit further. Okay, so now we're going to start producing a car. So we can change the NFT into the actual specifications of the buyer. Then you think, okay, average car lasts about 12 years, maybe 15. How can we tie the NFT as a digital twin to the physical car, and always force the owner that if they even sell their car, they're also selling their digital twin. All the service history can be on that digital twin, all the details of the car. So you don't need Carfax anymore, because your NFT will show you what has happened in the car. So it is that type of discussion. How can we bring the utility of NFT rather than just a picture of a blind monkey, to be honest?
Sure. No, I mean, I love it. And, I think one of the things that you just talked about is very important to understand is tying data and putting data back into the hands of the owner of the vehicle. How it works now, if you have a car, if you have a vehicle, you take it into the dealership, the OEM gets all the data on it, the dealer has all the data on it, but that person never sees the real data in the vehicle, right? And so, again, if you go back to this kind of like inclusive democratic process and giving somebody data back into their hands, that's really what you're doing.
Yeah, if you look at repair history, most of you will drive modern cars. You have an OBD2 port somewhere in the bottom. When you come to your dealership, they plug the computer in, or their iPad or whatever. They know everything about your car, with how many feet you like to drive, how many times you open the left door, how many times you open the window, how much power do you use. You have even insurance companies now that will give you a discount if you plug a little block into your OBD2 port, because they can see how many times are you speeding, how aggressive are you accelerating from a red light. All that data is available, but you never get to see it as a customer. By bringing that into the blockchain, by bringing that into an NFT, you have access to that all. It is your data, you're consuming it, or you're creating it, you're just not consuming it yet. And that is what we are like to do with our NFT play. It's a 360-degree view of the life cycle of a car, always tied your physical car to a digital twin.
There's a lot of excitement around this launch of the Alpha5. I think you crashed your website when you went live with the images to the tune of 17,000 seconds of people a second hitting the website. You're moving into, you're gonna be in the new movie. Talk about that a little bit, and about the companies that are approaching you now to put this vehicle and really kind of rebirth this icon of the DMC-12?
Yeah, I think if you look at the virality of the DMC brand, in 2020 we had a little over 22 million hits on YouTube on the words "New DeLorean." To put that in perspective, Ford Motor Company had less than that, and we haven't built a car in 40 years. The amount of merchandising that we can do with the brand is just insane. Movies are now coming to us and say, hey, can we have your car in our movie? Those are the kind of things as a brand you can only dream of. Now, how do you monetize that? NFTs are a way to do it. Partnerships, brand partnerships, but I think the start is really the NFT. We need to have a functional NFT. Most of my customers who can afford to buy this car doesn't even know how to spell the word NFT. So how accessible can we make an NFT for the people who don't understand what an NFT is? And there's a lot of education going on, and I think by creating the utility in that NFT, we have an opportunity now to bring the NFT well beyond the traditional world of 23-year-old kids sitting on a couch who know how a credit card works. We need to bring that into the bigger world, and that is why functional NFTs is really the way going forward.
So let's talk about the phases of this launch with the Alpha5. So phase one is the production slot NFT. Phase two is the customization NFT, and then phase three is the NFT tied to the physical vehicle. So talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So think 12 years. That's the average lifespan of a car. Right now, we are building a club, the Alphas Club, where people can come in at a nominal amount. So from a legal perspective, we can do all our legal validation of customers. This will give you 24 hours pre-access to the rest of the world to mint your NFT. If you mint your NFT, you'll have an avatar, and the avatar will have a random VIN number, or production slot number as we call it. And that production slot number represents the ability to get a car at a moment in the future. 6 months before we go into production, we'll come back to you as the NFT owners and say, now you need to spec your car. What color do you want, what options do you want, etc. But between the first mint and the second avatar, or the second final specification, you can trade these things. You can go to a secondary market. If you want VIN number 888, you can find somebody who's willing to sell you VIN number 888 or production number 888. You can sell your NFT, you can trade your NFT, you can exchange your NFT, and those are the kind of things that we make it very democratic. If we would say up front, hey, if you try to get into a car, you need to pay me $50,000, then 99.2% of the world would be out. If we say our NFT is priced at $2,500, then suddenly you become very accessible to people who would like to speculate. And I expect a very vibrant aftermarket in those NFTs. Now, once we're in production, of course, it becomes the NFT buyer is now the car buyer. So people will bow out because we'll have a higher entry point to get there. Once the car is delivered, you'll have your final NFT or your final avatar that shows the exact specification of the vehicle, the full VIN number, and then that car will live together with you, physical car and the digital twin, for the life of the vehicle. If you sell the car, you will have sold your NFT, whether you like it or not.
Gotcha. And so, in terms of the initial process, the production slots, when you buy that, you're guaranteed that you can have the car, but you don't have to basically buy the car. You can trade it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want. And anybody that wants to buy the vehicle needs to come and purchase that NFT. If they want slot number 1, production unit number 1, they have to buy that particular NFT.
There's no access to the Alpha5 without having an NFT. That's a huge benefit, and that's a huge risk. Because again, my buyers don't know how to spell the word NFT. So we're going to have to educate that very clearly, but there's no access without an NFT, because we want that digital twin to live with that vehicle over the life of that vehicle. And we'll get there. It is just a question of educating people, making the club accessible, making it easy for people to understand what they're actually doing. But my dream is that the son or the daughter is gaming my avatar well before the buyer of the car, the dad or the mom, is actually sitting in the car. It's going to be fantastic. It is the first bridge that I can see of an automotive company, of a physical product with its digital twin living in the metaverse.
I love it. Why don't we open it up to a couple of questions,
Sure.
if you don't mind. If you have a question, lift your hand. We'll get somebody to come and drop you a mic, Nate or...
There's a question over there.
Okay, sure.
Behind you, 3 rows down on the left. There.
Yeah, right here. Okay, over here first, and then we'll come back over here.
So I have one question on the NFTs. So say I buy the NFT and then I never decide to go through the purchase of the car. Are you gonna have like a limitation on, like, say if I want to hold the NFT forever and never buy a car, and then does that stop the production of that car?
Hang on,
Yeah.
let me answer that.
Yeah, sure.
We had a long discussion about that. So if you have an NFT, you just want the NFT, you never want to buy a car, you never want to spec it, you're going to lose your NFT. Because 6 months before I start physical production of the car, I'm going to come back to you and said, pick your color, pick your options, you have 72 hours, 96 hours to do that. If you don't do that, the NFT will revert back to me. That's part of the smart contract. So there can never be an NFT with a production number that's not tied to a physical car.
Awesome, thank you.
Right over here.
How do you become a member of the Alpha Club?
We have a booth upstairs. There are some QR codes that you can scan, and then in probably a week and a half, if you go to DeLorean.com, our website, you'll be able to sign there too. This is the first group that we're showing it to, so I would say do it now, but it will be available on our website probably about a week and a half from now.
We already have over 100,000 people registered on the website for DeLorean.com. We have a lounge upstairs called the 88 Lounge by DeLorean on the 2nd floor. So if you go out here, up the escalator, you can come see us there. We're going to have a happy hour up there from 4 to 7. Yost will be there until about 3:30 this afternoon. He has to get back to San Antonio tonight, but please come see us up there.
So a lot of car companies don't know exactly what the demand will be, right? So you will only mint as many NFTs as you will produce vehicles, correct? So you know what your demand is going to be.
Exactly. We very clearly stated our coupe is required for the brand because that's the only way we can bring the brand back in the real world. But we're only going to build a very specific amount of cars over a very specific amount of time. That once we come out with an SUV, it will be different because that will be demand unconstrained, or it will be production unconstrained. It will purely a demand play. But right now, for the coupe, it is our halo car. It is our halo car. We come out with the first car. It's going to be 9,351, and we know exactly what the demand will be.
I think another important point, and if you're in this industry or space, or you have a company and you're looking to get, use NFTs for a business strategy, I think one of the important things too about this is that you're actually going to be generating revenue for the company before you ever even produce a vehicle. And how many car manufacturers can say that?
Yeah, if you look at refundable deposits on a waiting list, the federal authorities require you to always give the money back. I'm not selling you a refundable list on a waiting list. I'm selling you an NFT with a digital wallet and a piece of art and a gameable avatar. So as a startup company that we still are, we're not a public company yet, I'll actually be post-revenue prior to an IPO, which is awesome.
Hi, my name is Bernard. We're actually connected via LinkedIn. I have a question for you. Obviously, I'm very familiar with Giugiaro Giugiani. From history, he came up with the design for the Golf. Became an iconic car in Europe. They were around here in the area in Orange County. They went back, and I believe they were purchased by the Volkswagen Group.
Correct.
So my question, this is a design studio which I highly value. Evidently my grandfather's from Italy as well. So from the first step to do like a clay design or whatever and going to the drive unit to either a coach builder or do it with somebody else, do you have any information about the drive unit? Is this an electric drive unit? Is this a combustion drive unit? And
No.
where is the coach builder going to take place?
The Alpha2, which is the 1990 coupe, is a V8 gas car, an internal combustion engine. The Alpha3, which is a four-door electric sedan, and then the Alpha4 is a hydrogen-powered SUV from 2010. The Alpha5 that we're launching now is a battery electric vehicle, all-wheel drive. Where we're producing it, I'm not disclosing yet, because that will be done after Pebble Beach launch.
Awesome, thank you. I'd love to help out if I can.
Okay.
This is absolutely exciting. I mean, I might be the most turned up person here right now going, this is something so damn cool that, excuse my language, but it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm curious, as you're using NFTs to create this technology and what is the future plans outside of a vehicle?
If you look I mean, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, I couldn't spell the word NFT. Let's be very honest. I'm an old guy, probably older than most of you in the audience here, and by understanding this industry a little bit better, I also saw that it has to be more on the functional side to make it really work. I think the power of blockchain is underutilized, I think from a business perspective. But it can't be static, it has to be more. There needs to be a life cycle view of how you put something into a product. And I think cars are easy, but you can do this with refrigerators, with cooktops, with many different products, whereby the concept of an NFT, the concept of owning the digital space around the physical asset, that bridge for many companies hasn't been made yet because it's so fresh, it's so new. But I would like to, if I want to buy a used stove from somebody, I'd like to know what the history of that thing is. And there I think an NFT play, a blockchain play, a life cycle view of a product that you're buying is super valuable because that data is all there, it's just not accessible to the buyer. We're becoming more a world where we hopefully start to recycle, where we hopefully start to reuse things. And I think that technology that you have here with blockchain and with NFTs is perfect for it. But the companies today who are creating these environments haven't really thought this through yet. And it is raw. I mean, even the federal government doesn't know what to do with us. So
you're more than a PFP?
You understand my point.
Yeah, and I think, what we're jointly building together here, it's obviously the vehicle, the car, the brand, but at the end of the day, what we're building here is IP, and we're building very, very significant IP, we believe, that can, again, be licensed out to many, many, many aspects of the business world.
Hi, how you doing? I'm really excited too. Like the gentleman had said, I'm really excited to release. It's screwing up the mic.
Hold it a little closer so we can hear you.
He's producing energy in here. You feel it? How about that? What happens to the NFTs if the vehicle is to be destroyed or in an accident or something like that? I'm sure that we're producing this in particular item or the holder of the NFT, but what happens if the vehicle gets destroyed?
When the vehicle is destroyed, the NFT is destroyed. It is really one-to-one. We had that scenario in our forecasting. The cars are obviously connected, so we know where they are on a global level because the connectivity stack is pretty sophisticated from that perspective. And there is an end of life. So an NFT can actually have an end of life too. And I think that's another angle that people will think, well, if it's digital, it's forever. No, digital also has an end of life, and you need to take that into account too. Very good question. It's one of those angles we've thought about a long time.
It protects the rarity of what we're doing here, right? And so I'm not going to get into the technical details of it, but you can talk to our main tech guy right here, Daniel Sloan. But at the end of the day, we are able to control that back-end process of being able to destroy that NFT if the vehicle is destroyed or it reaches the end of life. So again, I won't get into the details of that, but from a technical standpoint, you do have that ability to do that as a company or a brand if you're wanting to use this kind of a strategy.
So my question might actually be for Daniel then, but how are you enforcing the trading of hands of the NFT? So if I sell my DeLorean, it's going to trigger my NFT being given to somebody else. Now the whole notion of NFTs is everything's decentralized, so you're kind of going against the nature of NFTs by forcing some kind of action to happen. I can see the Web3 community not liking that very much. So I'm curious how that's going to work.
Well, the technical aspects I'll leave over to the people who program all of this widgetry, because I couldn't answer that. When you buy our NFT, there are certain rules of under which conditions you are buying it. So from a legal perspective, I can carve my world out. How I know that you sold your car? Because the DMV shares who owns cars. In the US, there's a rule that the NHTSA has safety recalls, and if I ever have to put a recall out, I can buy where the cars are. So every DMV is selling their data. I mean, you are all completely visible to any OEM, what you drive, more or less where you drive it, and almost how you drive it. So that data is available to us. It's a little bit more difficult in the Middle East and in Europe. No, Europe's open now. It's a little bit more difficult in the Middle East. But South America is the same as US. I mean, I know where the cars are, I know who owns them. That data is all public domain.
Yeah, so I mean, to Yo's point, and also, I mean, at the end of the day, the NFT is tied to the vehicle. So really, you're selling the NFT with the vehicle at the same time. And the new owner is going to want that, right? And it really gives you the ability as the owner of the vehicle to go to that new owner and say, look, this is the history of the car. You don't have to go to Carfax, you don't have to do any of that. You can see how many times the driver's side door is open, how many times the headlights have been turned on, how many times the engine's been started, how many times the battery's been recharged. So everything about that vehicle lives in that NFT. It's something that you would want to sell with the vehicle, we're going to be doing that on DeLorean's own marketplace as well. The thing people don't know about DeLorean is that for the last 40 years, there have been billions and billions and billions of dollars of revenue generated through DMC. Merchandising, automotive sales, parts, so on and so forth. So the brand has lived on, and at the end of the day, it's something that you would want to do as an NFT holder anyways. It gives you actually extra value.
All the way in the back. Oh, go for it.
How much time do we have, just by the way? 5 minutes? Okay.
5 minutes, all right. Hey, welcome to NFT LA Expoverse, yo.
Thank you.
So, we're all in a little bit of a bubble here where we all love Web3, we know how it works. Sometimes forget that this is foreign to people outside of this convention center. DeLorean is such an iconic brand, Back to the Future. People love it. You just mentioned you got a lot of income from merchandising. I know that I see model kicks. I came back from Comic-Con. I saw so many DeLoreans, like model cars and collectibles. So I know you're bringing it in. But I think this is probably the most important question. Not all your buyers are in this room. Your buyers are those mainstream people. The people I saw at Comic-Con buying the Back to the Future merchandise. The people who are the normies outside this building. Buying an NFT is not as easy as we think it is. You have to know how to download a wallet, store your private keys, KYC on an exchange. There's an issue there. So how do you educate all the people outside this building that want to buy a DeLorean on how to properly and safely enter Web3 and possibly purchase their very first NFT or download the very first wallet and
Let me answer
get it
first.
passed up?
Let me answer first, and then you can go to the technical side. One of the first things we asked, can I make it as simple as buying a cup of coffee at Starbucks? If the answer is no, this project is not going to fly. I don't want to know about a digital wallet. I don't want to know about KYC, AML. I don't want to know about anything. I want to whip out my credit card, pay my $250 to be part of a club, and if I want to buy my NFT, I want to whip up a credit card to pay $2,500 for an NFT. If we can't make it that idiot-proof, it ain't gonna fly. Because my buyers don't know how to spell the word NFT, and it's not that complicated. So that was the challenge we gave the partners that we have. It has to be idiot-proof, because none of my buyers even know what an NFT is. And then I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so, DeLorean, we're doing this all through a DeLorean marketplace. It's a specific marketplace. It's not going to be on an open sea or anything like that. You don't have to know how to get a wallet. It's a credit card process. Once you do that credit card process and register for an account, your wallet's automatically created on the platform. That's where it will automatically be stored and put into. Unless you want to move it off, you can, if you know how to go set up a MetaMask or whatever the case is. But from a technical standpoint, and Daniel can talk more to this if you want to talk afterwards of how we're doing all of this, we've essentially designed the technology to make it, as easy as possible for somebody to actually buy it and to store it, essentially. So again, we can talk more afterwards in terms of the tech side of things.
I think we're running out of time. One more question before we let it go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hi, John Samuelson. Pleasure to hear your conversation. I would think that you would want to do something where you keep the people in community after they use the NFT, either they destroyed their vehicle or they didn't buy it, or they would end up burning it and then ending up with like a gold level
Yes.
or other bronze to stay in community.
Yes.
You have that vision?
Yeah, I think the destruction of an owner's avatar, which is really what we're talking about, that has to stay. Otherwise, the value of your process is degraded. What we will replace it with could be something else. I mean, we're not going to leave somebody with zero if they crash their car. But you cannot upfront state you'll get to keep your NFT or your avatar.
Not the one tied to the vehicle.
Exactly. We'll have a generic one, we'll have something, but the one that's tied to the vehicle with that VIN number, with that service history, with that usage history, that has to die.
We're also doing this with the generational vehicles. When you become a part of the Alphas Club, you're going to get a key NFT. So basically, it's a DeLorean key. So, and there's going to be a lot of experiences. One of the things that we have planned is right next to the DeLorean headquarters. The neighbor there has a 8,000 person gaming auditorium. So we're planning on doing a big event for NFT holders there, where you can come and be a part of the gaming avatar aspect of it. So a lot's planned when it comes to that.
All right, I would love to continue the discussion. We have a lounge upstairs. For those of you who have more questions or want to talk in a smaller forum, I'd suggest pop on over. We're going to be there. I think we have coffee.
We have all refreshments, all of that. You can get more information about the club. If you get a club membership, you're welcome to the lounge today and tomorrow. We have a happy hour from 4 to 7. And of course, Yoshi will be there until around 3:34 today.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.